Hello, this is Shambhavi. Welcome to Satsang. Satsang is an ancient spiritual practice from India. It means being in reality together. I give Satsang live every Wednesday and Sunday night in Portland, Maine. This Dharma talk was recorded during one of our Wednesday night gatherings. Please visit jayakula.org to learn more about the teachings. You can find video satsangs on Jayakula's YouTube channel, and my books are all available on Amazon.com. Much love to you, wherever and however you are. So there's a famous mantra that happens to be the first letter of the Sanskrit alphabet. And it's The poet Laleshwari from Kashmir, from the 14th century, said that the state of the realized yogi is one of continuous amazement. What are we amazed at? Yeah, that there, first of all, that there is something here and not nothing. We're amazed at existence. This is actually the sound of amazement. It's the first manifestation out of unconditioned Shiva nature, and it's the sound of amazement. Amazement is actually at the root of devotion. People come to spiritual practice for lots of different reasons. Sometimes they just stumble into it. They don't even know why they're doing it. That's always fun. But sometimes people start looking for spiritual practice or a spiritual teacher because they're in pain or because they just have a sense of that there's something more. There's all different kinds of reasons. But then having gotten into a situation where you have teachings and a teacher, then you start trying to just be ordinary. There's no amount of cleverness that will help you realize. No cleverness will help you realize. We have intelligence, but that's different than cleverness. The clever trickiness of your fixations trying to perpetuate themselves. The clever ways that you use your mind to try to not have to give up what you actually came there to give up. All cleverness of any sort is a way of entering into struggle with the teachings or the teacher or yourself. It's all about struggle, all cleverness. And being stuck with cleverness, whether it's the clever ruses of your fixations trying to survive, or the clever words that come out of your mouth, or the clever ways that you parrot the teachings back to the teacher, or whatever cleverness it is, every kind of cleverness. There's no kind of cleverness that is ever going to lead you to waking up. It's all about just struggle, basically. And it will stop you from experiencing, all cleverness will block you from experiencing that. You can be actually writing something clever about awe, and you're completely blocking In different stages of practice, and stages are not what everybody goes through, because each of us is born in a different condition. So it's kind of ludicrous to say these are the stages of spiritual awakening, because you could be experiencing them differently in a different order, starting from a different place. So just take what I'm about to say that way, in that context. But a lot of people spend a good deal of the first part of their spiritual life when they get into some concerted, consistent practice with teachings. They spend a good part just learning about how tied up in knots they are. And it's not really very comfortable. And that, this is where cleverness really tries to get a foothold. Right? We try to cleverly worm our way out of actually untying those knots and surrendering. And we think we're outsmarting ourselves and outsmarting the teachings and outsmarting the teacher. But all we're really doing is struggling. Right? In a very crude way. But eventually, something else has to creep in. And that is devotion. There is no Tantra without devotion. There's tantric teachings, there's tantric practice, but there's no Tantra without devotion. Because these direct realization traditions, Tantra included, all function through you experiencing your identity with the enlightened nature of the teacher. And I don't mean that the teacher is fully enlightened. I mean that the teacher, if they are actually functioning as a teacher of Tantra, they're not just sitting here with a label. They're actually functioning as a teacher of Tantra. Then there is some way that they're able to convey or be with you in such a way that you can experience your own enlightened essence nature. That is the absolute pith of the tradition and of all the direct realization traditions. And you cannot experience that without devotion. To experience that means you have to feel, just thunderstruck that you actually get to do this. You have to feel thunderstruck that you're getting teachings. You have to feel thunderstruck that you have a teacher. You have to feel thunderstruck at what you're discovering in your sadhana. And then devotion, just out of that thunderstruckness, just comes pouring out. And all the rest of it is just baby steps, preparation. You cannot get by with cleverness. You have to throw it out. Throw out your IQ. It's not important. It's in your way. There's another kind of intelligence that you need to use, but not that. That has to go. And it starts with that, I have never gotten over the bare fact that I found teachings. I have never gotten over that. It has never become ordinary. I am so thunderstruck that I get to do this, that I even know who Ma is. Me, just some person. I grew up in a totally dysfunctional family in Philadelphia. And nobody was interested in anything like this. My whole life is a thunderstruck. And this is where devotion happens. Devotion is related to that feeling, that realization. So at the essence of this tradition is you experiencing the condition that I am in my best moments, in yourself. And you cannot do that if you don't have this devotion. So you can do lots of other things. You can practice diligently. You can work on your fixations. You can be with the community. But at some point, you have to come naked into the room. Right? Without your cleverness. Without what you think you know. Without your defenses. Without your aggression. You have to come naked into the room at some point. And that is the only thing that drives this thing called transmission. Devotion drives transmission. Transmission is just that alchemical process where you get to experience something of your own enlightened essence nature somehow through some weird magic just by being with me or some other teacher. And it never will happen unless you come naked into the room with your devotion. It will never happen. So anybody who's sitting around waiting for something to happen while you're hanging on to your cleverness and all your self-concern and your reasons and your excuses and your thises and your that's, it's never going to happen because it all happens. You are driving it. I am not driving it. I am responding to you naturally in a way that I cannot define or control. I'm responding to you, the condition that you're in. The condition that you're in is driving everything. There's nobody as stupid as a clever person in a spiritual teaching. Really. You have no idea how stupid it really is. Talk about missing opportunities. There's something much more intelligent than that we need. And it involves no cleverness whatsoever. And that intelligence is what you share with the teacher. That primordial intelligence is what you share with God. Right? Cleverness is like a piece of dry dandruff compared to that. You know, I'm talking to people sometimes, they think they're answering me in a clever way. It's not clever. You have to come and be brave. You have to show up with your braveness, not with your cleverness. When you come into the scene of transmission with braveness, with nakedness, with honesty, with your real intelligence, with surrender and determination, everything opens for you. God cannot say no to that. God in the form of teacher, in form of nature, form of your sadhana, whatever it is, you know, showing up in all those different ways. You show up brave and naked and with no cleverness whatsoever, you will be responded to in full measure and more than you ever imagined. But you have to stop playing games with your mind and your, little runarounds around everything. I hardly ever use that part of my mind anymore, whatever that was, that clever mind. I hardly ever use that anymore. Every once in a while I take it out for a walk and then, imagine myself saying something clever, but it's just so stupid. Clever mind is just reactivity, basically. That's all it is. If I feel like someone's attacking me, then I suddenly get very clever. That's not sadhana. That's just self-indulgence. There's a lot of opportunity, especially in this country, I'm sure everywhere, to kind of like just be spiritual. Right? You can go somewhere for an hour to a couple hours a week and be spiritual. You can sit on your cushion for 20 minutes a day and be spiritual. But your fixations are just running wild. Unleashed. Cleverness to the max. Right? This tradition is actually seriously for reals. It doesn't mean that everybody who shows up is going to do that. But we're not really kidding around. We laugh a lot, but we're not kidding around. So, cleverness need not apply. Next time you hear yourself cleverly using spiritual language to explain why you actually don't have to surrender, think about what I said. Jayakula is a nonprofit community offering opportunities to learn and practice in the direct realization traditions of Trika Shaivism and Dzogchen. We are based in Portland, Maine and Portland, Oregon. Visit jayakula.org to explore more of our offerings.